Have you ever felt that electric tension in the air right before lightning strikes? That moment when everything goes silent and you know something powerful is about to happen? We're living in exactly that kind of moment right now, and what's coming will challenge everything you thought you knew about personal growth and human potential. You might have already noticed it, that restless feeling, the sense that your old routines no longer satisfy you, or perhaps the growing awareness that the life you've been living feels somehow incomplete. These aren't random sensations, they're signals that your consciousness is preparing for a profound shift. The transformation that's approaching operates on multiple levels simultaneously, working through your thoughts, emotions, relationships, and even how you perceive reality itself. While others remain unaware, those who recognize these signs have a tremendous advantage. They can prepare, align with these powerful forces, and use this period to create lasting change in their lives. The question isn't whether this transformation will happen, it's already underway. The real question is whether you'll be a conscious participant in your own evolution, or simply let these forces carry you along without understanding their power. Before we dive deeper, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to embrace this powerful transformation and step into the conscious evolution of your life, write in the comments, "I'm ready for my shift." Why does it feel like the ground beneath our feet is shifting? We're witnessing the breakdown of systems, beliefs, and structures that once seemed permanent. The familiar patterns that governed previous generations no longer provide the security they once offered. This isn't temporary disruption. We're experiencing a fundamental reorganization of how human consciousness operates. Traditional career paths feel uncertain. Relationships are being redefined. Our understanding of success and fulfillment is undergoing radical revision. People everywhere are asking deeper questions about meaning and purpose. The acceleration has intensified dramatically. Changes that took decades now happen in months. This creates both tremendous opportunity and disorientation. Those who adapt quickly will thrive, while those clinging to outdated approaches will struggle. Your personal transformation isn't separate from these broader changes. Every breakthrough you experience contributes to a larger awakening, reshaping human consciousness globally. The question becomes, will you resist this transition or embrace it as the greatest growth opportunity you've ever encountered? What happens when you finally admit that the life you've been living is no longer enough? This moment of honest recognition marks the beginning of true awakening, often arriving as dissatisfaction, restlessness, or a sense that something important is missing. Personal awakening isn't about adopting new beliefs. It's about becoming genuinely curious about who you are beneath the layers of conditioning and automatic responses. This leads to questions many avoid. What do I actually want? What brings genuine fulfillment? How much of my current life reflects my authentic choices? The process requires extraordinary honesty. You must examine the habits, relationships, and commitments filling your days and ask whether they truly serve your highest good. This often reveals uncomfortable truths. You might discover you've been living according to someone else's definition of success. Awakening typically unfolds as small realizations that gradually reshape your perspective. Conversations that once seemed important now feel empty. Activities that provided satisfaction now leave you drained. Goals that motivated you appear insufficient. This shift creates space for something new to emerge, experiences and opportunities that align with your authentic nature. How many times have you tried to change your life only to find yourself back in the same patterns weeks later? True transformation begins in the mind, and most people never learn to harness the incredible creative power of their thoughts and emotions. Your mind isn't a passive observer, it's the active creator of your reality. Every thought and emotion sends signals throughout your body and environment that literally shape your experience. Most people live in constant reaction, allowing external circumstances to determine their internal state. This reactive approach makes real change nearly impossible. Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown that when you learn to generate new internal states, regardless of external circumstances, you literally rewire your brain and create new possibilities. This isn't positive thinking. It's the deliberate cultivation of mental and emotional states that correspond to the life you want to create. The key is becoming comfortable with uncertainty rather than seeking the familiar. When you think the same thoughts and feel the same emotions daily, you signal your body to create the same chemicals and your brain to fire the same neural networks. Breaking free requires thinking beyond current circumstances and feeling more powerful than present conditions.
What would happen if you refused to think a single thought you thought yesterday? This reveals the profound challenge of breaking free from automatic patterns that govern most human behavior. Old patterns operate at multiple levels: mental, emotional, physical, and social. You have thought patterns that lead to the same conclusions daily, emotional patterns generating the same feelings to familiar triggers, physical patterns of posture and energy reinforcing a particular identity, social patterns keeping you playing the same roles in relationships. These patterns persist not because they're beneficial, but because they're familiar. Your nervous system seeks predictability and avoids uncertainty. Even when familiar patterns create limitation, they feel safer than unknown territory. Breaking free requires conscious interruption of automatic sequences. You must catch yourself about to think a familiar thought, feel a familiar emotion, or take a familiar action, and deliberately choose something different. This feels uncomfortable because it goes against established neural pathways. The key is replacing old patterns with new ones, rather than eliminating behaviors. Each time you choose differently, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. Over time, what once required tremendous effort becomes your new normal. Have you noticed how certain emotions can completely change your physical experience within seconds? Your heart rate shifts, breathing changes, muscle tension fluctuates, and your entire perception transforms. Emotions aren't just feelings. They're powerful forms of energy directly influencing your biology and your ability to create change. Most people experience emotions as things that happen to them rather than forces they can direct. This passive relationship keeps them at the mercy of circumstances and prevents accessing tremendous creative power within their emotional system. Emotions carry information about your relationship to yourself, others, and your environment. When you learn to read this information accurately and respond consciously rather than reactively, you gain access to guidance far more sophisticated than logical analysis alone. The problem arises when emotional energy gets trapped. Unprocessed emotions from past experiences continue influencing current responses unconsciously. Fear from childhood affects adult decisions. Anger from past betrayals contaminates present relationships. Sadness from old losses prevents full engagement with new opportunities. Mastery emotional energy involves generating positive states consciously rather than waiting for external circumstances. When you sustain emotional states corresponding to your desired reality rather than current circumstances, transformation accelerates dramatically. What if everything you believed about brain limitations was completely wrong? For decades, scientists believed the adult brain was fixed, that change was impossible after a certain age. Modern neuroscience has shattered these assumptions. We now know the brain remains remarkably plastic throughout life, constantly forming new connections based on experience and practice. You can literally rewire your brain to support new ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving at any age. Dr. Joe Dispenza has demonstrated that you can create measurable brain changes through conscious cultivation of specific mental and emotional states. When you combine clear intention with elevated emotion while maintaining focused attention, you literally signal new genes and create neural networks that support your transformation. Your brain cannot distinguish between real experience and one vividly imagined. When you repeatedly visualize yourself thinking, feeling, and behaving in new ways, your brain prepares for that reality, building neural infrastructure to support it. This process requires patience and persistence. New neural pathways take time to develop, and old patterns often reassert during transition. Those who succeed continue practicing new ways of being even without seeing external evidence yet.
Why do some relationships deepen during growth while others fade away? Transformation acts as a powerful filter, revealing the true nature of your connections. As you evolve, you vibrate at a different frequency, naturally affecting every relationship. People aligned with your growth feel drawn to your new energy and often experience their own transformation in response. Relationships with these individuals become more authentic and mutually supportive. However, relationships based on old patterns or shared limitations may struggle. Some people feel threatened by your growth because it challenges them to examine their own patterns. Others try pulling you back into familiar dynamics because your old way of being felt safer. This natural selection isn't failure, it's essential evolution. Maintaining relationships that no longer serve your highest good actually slows progress. The energy required to manage misaligned relationships could better support continued growth. Often during transformation, new relationships appear seemingly from nowhere. These connections feel different because they're based on who you're becoming rather than who you've been, involving people who share your commitment to growth and authentic living. When did you last experience significant growth while remaining completely comfortable? Every meaningful transformation involves periods of uncertainty, challenge, and discomfort. This isn't a design flaw, it's how consciousness evolves. Comfort zones protect from perceived danger, but limit access to new experiences and capabilities. Your nervous system seeks homeostasis and maintains familiar patterns, even when they no longer serve your highest good. Discomfort signals that you're moving beyond current identity boundaries and engaging possibilities your previous self couldn't access. This isn't evidence something's wrong, it's evidence something's changing. The person you're becoming naturally feels unfamiliar. Most people try eliminating discomfort quickly, retreating to familiar territory when feeling uncertain or challenged. This makes lasting change impossible because growth requires sustained engagement with the unknown. Learning to reframe discomfort as a positive growth indicator transforms your entire relationship with transformation. Instead of viewing uncertainty as a problem, recognize it as a signal you're actively expanding consciousness. Building tolerance for discomfort requires gradual, consistent practice. Each time you choose remaining present with uncertainty rather than retreating to familiar, you expand your capacity for greater challenges and opportunities. How can your personal transformation matter amid enormous collective challenges? This reveals misunderstanding about collective change's nature and individual consciousness's role in shaping shared reality. Every collective movement began with individuals choosing to think, act, and embody possibilities others considered impossible. They took complete responsibility for their transformation and allowed their example to inspire others. Your transformation isn't separate from collective change, it's the foundation. When you heal wounds, release limiting beliefs, and develop new capabilities, you contribute to collective consciousness healing. Your commitment to growth gives others permission to pursue their own transformation. The interconnected nature of consciousness means your internal changes create ripple effects extending far beyond immediate influence. People unconsciously pick up on changes in your energy and behavior even when you're not trying to influence them. Your individual responsibility is aligning so completely with your highest potential that your presence elevates every environment you enter. This isn't about perfection, it's about commitment to continuous growth and authentic expression. What awaits us isn't something to fear, but to embrace with courage and enthusiasm. This represents the greatest possibility for human evolution in generations, and you have the privilege of participating in this remarkable shift. The practices and principles discussed aren't theoretical concepts, they're practical tools requiring consistent application. Your commitment to implementing these approaches daily will determine whether you experience this period as chaos or unprecedented opportunity. Remember that transformation isn't a destination, but an ongoing process of becoming. Each day presents new opportunities to choose growth over stagnation, awareness over reaction, and authentic expression over social conformity. The world needs individuals operating from their highest capabilities. Your transformation serves not only your evolution, but contributes to human consciousness elevation. Every breakthrough makes it easier for others to access similar breakthroughs. The time for preparation is now. Transformation forces are already in motion, and those who consciously align will find themselves propelled toward new levels of possibility. This is your invitation to step fully into your power and become an active participant in humanity's conscious evolution. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's whether you'll lead it or be led by it. The signs are all around us. The shift has begun. Are you ready?